Wanted to make a video, figured this might be helpful for somebody else out there. What I'm going to be doing today is changing the front main seal and timing cover gasket on this 2011 Dodge 3500. It's got the 6.7 liter Cummins diesel in there. High mileage, has a pretty good leak, which you can see from the ground there. It's leaking probably about, I don't know, I'd say half a quart in a week or so. So need to get it repaired. But hopefully this video will help somebody else out, so we'll get into it. Okay, well, I'll give you guys the rundown of how I think this is going to go, kind of the process that I'm going to take. Basically, from the looks of it, we're going to have to pull the radiator out, pull the drive belt out, and perhaps a couple of pulleys. In order to remove the timing cover, we'll also have to pull the harmonic balancer, the crank pulley off. So basically the steps, we're going to drain the radiator. It's pretty big capacity. I think it's like 5.7 gallons on these 6.7 liter Cummins engines, so going to need a big bucket and see how it goes as we get into it. I'm not a diesel mechanic by no means, but just kind of tinker with this stuff, so I'm sure I'll have some pitfalls and stumbles as we get through this, but have no doubt we'll get it done. Alright, looks like we're going to need a 10mm Allen. There's a drain petcock on the bottom of the radiator. We're going to drain it into the drain pans here. I've got 2 of them, and then we'll pour it into the bucket there. See how it goes. So this is the petcock. We're going to connect a little hose up to it here. Maybe it'll help in keeping me from getting full of antifreeze, if nothing else. Use the 10mm here. Open that up. I'm going to open up the radiator cap. I'm sure it'll flow a lot easier if it's getting air through the radiator cap. So I'll turn this off. Much better. I didn't clean the bucket out before I poured that in there, so but it looked pretty good. It's got a pink color to it, so but we'll be going back with the specified antifreeze, with new antifreeze, because I don't know how old this stuff is. So as we look under the truck here, you can see the extent of the of the oil leaks here. The lighting may not be quite adequate for you to pick this up, but in the daylight it looks pretty bad. Okay, I think we'll start off by pulling off this cover and taking a look at the back side, or actually the front side of the radiator, and seeing exactly how this is held on. Looks like we just have a few little pull clips that we pull those up and this should come out. So the bolt holding the radiator on appears to be a 13 millimeter. Comes off pretty easy. It's on some rubber isolators. Still pretty tight. Hitting on the fan, I can see there at the bottom. Maybe I need to angle it that way. Well, that's interesting. So it looks like there's two things holding us up. The transmission cooler appears to be bolted directly to the radiator, or fixed to the radiator somehow. I thought it was separate. I've seen separate brackets on other vehicles, so I'm probably going to have to disconnect the transmission cooler lines and pull it out as one unit, or I need to remove the transmission cooler from the radiator. It's turning out to be a little bit more work than I thought it would be, but that's the way things go. So you can see here what's going on with the transmission cooler. Those are the lines right there. And it's actually attached to the radiator with those clips right there, those bolts.
How's it going?
Not bad. How are you doing?
Oh, doing good, doing good.
So removing the transmission cooler worked out really well. It was really simple, just as it was just a matter of removing the bolts out of that radiator. I put them back in here just so that they wouldn't get lost. One less thing I have to remember where it goes. Well, we should be able to remove the radiator now. Turns out I had to remove the grill. It was really simple. Just had to remove four screws, and then there was just a clip here. You had to angle the grill down, and that relieve the little clip that attached right here, and you just pull the metal clip, pull that out. So that was pretty easy. But I think I've pretty much determined if I'm even doing this right. Those blocks have to get past all of that, and in order to get the blocks down here past that other retainer for the intercooler, is what it appears to be, I'm going to have to remove the intercooler. So I don't know if this is the right sequence. I haven't watched any other videos that might be out there, and I haven't tried to find a manual for this thing, so I may be going about this all wrong, but this is the way I've chose to do it. So let's see if this works. Okay, so what I ended up doing was just took the two bolts off of the top of the intercooler, and I raised the intercooler up to get those hooks up past the frame, and then I put just some tools behind it just to hold it wedged back, so that should give us the clearance to pull the radiator up. We'll see if that works. That was the worst radiator to pull out I have ever done in my entire life. That was tough for a radiator. It's a pretty big radiator, pretty dirty too. So I'll definitely be cleaning this up. Hopefully it'll do a little better cooling, but the truck hasn't had any problems cooling, but you know, when it's this dirty, I'm surprised. Take a look at this. You guys see that? Man, this thing is filthy. Looks like it's partially clogged with dirt and hair and everything else. So I'll be cleaning it up. Let's take a look here. So looking at the fan here, you can see what I was talking about. It has some kind of electrical module or something. Maybe it's a electric fan clutch. I don't know. Have to do some research on that just to educate myself on it, but pretty interesting. I tried to take the shaft off here. I couldn't get it to come off, and honestly I'm not sure if it's a reverse thread or a regular right hand thread, so I may have not been going in the correct direction. I should have paid attention which direction this engine spins, but I was actually surprised I don't see any decals or anything that shows the fan direction or anything else, so a little more to come. Next step, I have to pull this fan off somehow. I might have to do some research before I can get that off, but get the fan off, and then we can start cleaning up the engine so that we can pull the crank pulley off and the timing cover off, so we can change those seals and gaskets. So let's get to it.